Gangsta! I'm not sure what the show is trying to say with that title. Hopefully it's not just trying to be hip with the kids or something. Perhaps maybe they thought that just using the word gangster would have been too much. But today we have this wonderful little series. It's an action drama from Manglobe, a production house that I haven't seen recently. I thought they were dead. Well, I didn't actually think they were dead, but I was worried about them. And they bring, as usual actually, a series with a surprising style to it. The opening shows it to be very flashy and colorful, giving off a unique tone. But unfortunately, most of that is replaced by brown backgrounds of cramped city backstreets before long. A large chunk of the show's settings actually reminds me about the early bit of Gungrave. Not so early in Gungrave that we were still back in the whole supernatural action show. No, not that. The drama, the mafia drama, that bit. The part of the story with the street kids getting involved with the mafia before joining the mafia themselves. Now, I'm not saying that that's what this plot is doing, because it ain't, but the setting is similar. Or at least, it feels reminiscent of it. The long sand-colored back streets, the brawls in close quarters, the street-level action, that's what's similar. Not much can be deduced as far as what's beyond these streets, at least from what we've been shown in these early episodes. We know that the small section of city that we deal with is more or less controlled by a group referred to as the Big Four, who I think act similar to a group of mob family heads that control the entire city. The main characters, Nicholas, Warwick, and later Alex, are what the show refers to as handymen. People who are able to be hired for any job, sometimes as simple as a package delivery, other times a little more violent. The show also has this thing with characters referred to as tags, sometimes twilights, persons of extraordinary strength and fighting skills, categorized by letters and numbers. Now, not much has been explained about them as far as backstory is concerned just yet, beyond the fact that they can be very dangerous and have some reliance on drugs. One major thing in favor of the show, actually, is the introduction of a deaf protagonist. It's tastefully done, I might add, with supporting characters doing sign language and everything. I do sign language, but I don't actually know it. In this case, Nicholas, besides being a tag and the main action star of the show, is also deaf. Now, for the most part, this doesn't affect anything as he has the ability to lip read, so for the most part, he sticks to the traditional silent protagonist and continues to mosey on. But I'm expecting, and rather hoping, that they continue to dive into this particular facet of his character and not just brush it off as a small character quirk, never expanded upon. It's not something we've ever seen before, so some exploration into it would be fascinating. On top of which, I'd be interested to see how they pull him off in dub format. Because while he is deaf, he's not actually mute. Besides the perfectly understandable internal monologue that he spouts to himself occasionally, he does possess the ability to speak, just as someone who cannot fully hear himself and adjust accordingly. At one time, it was possible that a dub would never happen, but let's be honest, this is Funimation. A dub is going to happen eventually. In fact, it's going to be dubbed. Broadcast dubbed, even. Win-win. So as far as where the show's gonna go, I'm not really sure at this juncture. There's still so much about our main characters that we don't know about. In fact, we barely know them at all. So I expect a decent chunk of the show to actually be taken up by their backstories. And on top of that, I also expect said backstories to be rather dark, or at least varying shades of gray. We haven't seen much of any kind of build-up to tension or conflict. Now, we have been introduced to an antagonist and two flunkies, but they were all shrouded by shadow, so we'd know nothing about them, including what they look like. So we don't know what's going on with them, but hopefully whatever they end up cooking up for this series, it's interesting to watch. Because that's the thing, as long as it's interesting to watch, I'm good. Sure, if I wanted to, I could go read the manga, but that's no fun. I'm an anime guy. I'd like to wait to see things animated. So you might be able to guess this, but we have not reached the bottom line, so should you watch this show? Well, at the moment, if you are intrigued by the small amount of premise and characters thus far, I would say yes, but personally, there isn't enough just yet for me to give it a solid yes. The potential is definitely there, but the possibility of a bland execution from here on out is also a factor. Personally, I think I'm going to hold off for the time being, at least until a dub, because I think that it might help my enjoyment. But you, of course, are free to watch or not as you see fit. So what did you guys think? Let me know down in the thing of what's mabooba diba wads words that I'm saying out of my mouth down there. That thing down there. No spoilers, please. That's per usual. That'll never change, by the way. If you're ever expecting me to not say that, You shouldn't, because I will. No spoilers. If this video has piqued your interest, I'd like to tell you that Gangsta has been licensed by Funimation in North America and is available on their website should you have access to it. The sub, interestingly enough, I'm not gonna redo that. I'm gonna leave it in because, my video, deal with it. It's available on Funimation's website in full sub, and oddly enough, you don't have to pay for it yet. At least not in sub. I expect when the broadcast dub comes out, you're gonna have to pay for that because it's the broadcast dub and they always put that behind the premium paywall. That's to be expected. So thank you for joining me on this first reaction. If you like this sort of thing, hit the like or whatever button to let me know, or just leave a comment. That works too. This is very much a work in progress, and I will be continuing to work on it throughout the next couple of seasons until I'm happy with it, and even then I'll probably not actually be happy with it, and then I'll keep changing things. So it's always going to be a work in progress, but I'm going to say that every week just to remind you. Not that I'm going to end up doing this every week. I'm going to try and spread things out a little bit, see how that works. But until next time, ladies, gentlemen, and others, stay frosty.